into game number 3. And spawning over here in the 2 o'clock position on the map, GSL Antigua Shipyard. In the purple color, he's playing for Team Kessel. His team is up 5-1, but he's tied at 1 in the ace match. Can he bring another point to his team? It's Touche. And spawning across from him in the 10 o'clock position in the teal color, playing for Team Spinal Tap. Will he be able to bring back another point for his team? It is JustAlex. Now this is GSL Antigua Shipyard, which is noteworthy for a couple of reasons. This differs from the ladder version that many of you are probably familiar with. You have a neutral supply depot, pretty standard for GSL maps. Also, the middle base is these beautiful blue minerals rather than the gold minerals that are found on the ladder. And additionally, you can only spawn cross positions on this map. The close positions, I guess there's not really close by air, close by ground, but the close positions will tend to favor Terran, especially if, say, the Protoss spawned in this position. The Terran then could pick up his Marines right here and drop directly over the cliff right here and start harassing that third mineral line. But we've seen nice macro play in game number 1 from JustAlex, and in game number 2, a 5-gate all-in from Touche. And I'm curious to see what both of our players will come up with in game number 3. Now, game 3 of a best of 3 will tend to be a little bit more passive. Both players will do a build they're very, very confident with, and one that they're sure can win, and also it can be sure that they're defending against their opponent. But you won't tend to see as much cheese in game just because of the mentality of both players that they want to win. So will we see the same 3 command center style from JustAlex? It looks like that was what he was trying to get up to in game number 2. It was just stopped cold by that 5-gate all-in from Touche. JustAlex actually walling for the first time in this series, which is interesting to note. Trying to deny that scouting information, so we might see a little bit of tech play, although he's not taking his gas yet, so I don't think that'll be the case. SCV Scout is going to get in for JustAlex and see everything going on in Touche's base, and his base looks exactly the same as it's been in the first 2 games, but he's done vastly different things. The first game he did go for 2 gates in a robo and then expand. In game number 2 was the 5-gate all-in, and now game number 3, I guess we'll find out. JustAlex will throw down that command center at his natural, and this looks like a mirror image of what we've seen in the first 2 games from him. And a 1-Rax expand is a great opener to have in your arsenal as Terran. It's viable in every matchup, and the follow-ups, you can do a lot of different follow-ups. I mean, the general accepted follow-up is to go up to 3 barracks after it, but you can go into 1-1-1 from it, and it gives you a lot of options. We'll just say that. And it's fairly safe. You won't run into too much pressure other than like a 5-gate all-in that can actually just break through it that easily. Touche banking quite a few resources. It looks like he wants to expand very quickly, which is something we haven't seen from him yet in this series, to try and play a more macro game in the SCV. Going to get in and actually harass this probe. That's nice spotted by Alex, and it doesn't look like he actually delayed the Nexus, but he'll feel really annoying, and that can give you a little bit of a confidence boost. And he does get into the main, he spots both gases, and he'll hide in the fog. Ooh. So that SCV could be back to scout even more. Nope, actually Touche going to cut that out. In come the units of the Protoss, and that SCV doesn't have long left in his life. We will watch his final seconds here. Bonk. Alright. JustAlex throwing down his orbital command. He has a bunker up at his front, starting to fill out with Marines. It looks like his 3rd barracks is a little bit later than it has been in games 1 and 2. And his gas, he's only going up to 1 gas at a time, so he's kind of doing this in segments, which is interesting. And there's actually a 4th barracks. So we'll see what JustAlex wants to do from here. If he will put on a little bit of pressure now that he knows his opponent has gotten his quick Nexus, or will he throw down another command center and start playing even more macro? This SCV headed out to probably check. No, he's actually got control of the watchtower already. He'll probably go around and check for the 3rd base and kind of see what his opponent has at the front of his ramp. We can see 2 more gateways on the way from JustAlex. We might see kind of 3-gate robo pressure coming off of this from Touche, or he may take a 3rd Nexus. These are both good options, and we'll this turns into a greed game or a pressure game. And those are kind of the two opposites. You'll tend to see players go for both. And he does get out and he sees 3 sentries, which will be an important tool for him. He knows where all that gas is being spent. And he should know there's a tech building of some sort. He doesn't necessarily know what it is, but guessing a robo is usually pretty safe. So the 4th barracks nearly done for JustAlex. He throws down his factory to begin his teching. Actually, that's a 5th barracks. Wow. So up to 5 barracks right now. He's got 1 tech lab and his 3rd command center on the way. So he's matching greed for greed. When he poked up, he did see... No, he actually didn't see that nexus, but he saw a low unit count at the front of his opponent's base. And Touche actually going to respond. This is kind of a blind 3rd nexus. If we look at his scouting information, all he's actually seen is that ramp. He does have that observer nearly out, but this is real risk from Touche. He's going greed for greed. He might not know it yet. He's trying to head across the map. He will get past that marine. JustAlex trying to recover from that. It looks like he's going to move a couple more marines in position to try to deny that scouting. And the probe, he's going to kind of slip past him. Oh, he did notice. Well, the probe does see no 3rd command center at the 3rd base. We do know it's on the way, and we've also got this observer headed across map. So if we look at Touche's vision right now, he's still really in the dark, and he sees a lot of marines sitting out here in kind of an aggressive spot. He might be a little bit worried about that. Now flying in, he still doesn't see that command center, and that's really important. Now him, he'll know if he needs to just start cranking out units. We see he's got a lot of units right now. He could use immortals. It does look like that's been spotted now. Yep. So really well done by Touche. He does see that 3rd command center now. He'll feel really safe with this 3rd nexus. He lets that finish, and he'll be able to start making probes 3 at a time. Let's look at the economic situation. 37 SCVs to 29 probes. That's actually really surprising to me. We've seen, 2 workers killed for each side. Those both scouts. Yeah, that's really surprising. The pro class hasn't been as on top of his pro production as our Terran player has. And he's falling behind despite making really good economic decisions. There's a nice scan by JustAlex just to check the relative strength of his opponent's army. This observer's still sitting directly above his army. That's a little bit risky, and the 3rd command center flying over. And that's actually going to be spotted. 1 marine will get in here to scout. That'll be taken down. But everything looking really normal. There's a Templar Archives on the way. He knows that he'll need some splash damage to help deal with all of these marines, and instead of going with the Colossus route, he is going to go for the Templar this time. We saw him go to Colossus in game number 1. And Templar are a good choice until your opponent has Ghosts, basically. And if you can force him to make Vikings a little bit blindly, that can really help you out as well with those Templar, as Vikings aren't useful in fighting them. And now JustAlex throwing down a Ghost Academy. Is this part of his play? Yeah, he actually hasn't seen that. So the Ghost Academy looks to be part of JustAlex's plan for this game. And that's pretty strange and a little bit creative. I like it a lot. And he will hard counter a lot of these sentries. Maybe he has seen the sentry count of his opponent. How many sentries does he have? 12 sentries is ridiculous. There's Storm started. And yeah, now he's actually scanned and seen that Templar Archives. So he'll know that he needs those ghosts maybe a little quicker than he thought he did. But he can hit a timing now with those ghosts. We do have a double drop coming out that should have been spotted by the observer. We do see units splitting off everywhere. I'm not sure if that was because it was spotted or just because he knows the timing of the medevacs. But regardless, these 2 drops aren't going to do too much with the stalker sitting here. Now the medevacs being shot at, and he really on top of that. Nicely done by JustAlex. He turns around and he'll head back home, salvaging all those units, saving his medevacs. Everything really good. And now Touche has to go somewhere from here. He needs more gateways. He needs a real plan. I don't think he's aware that he's behind. He's behind 52 SCVs to 51 probes. That's not so bad. But we'll see what the general plan for both of these players is. There's double engineer... Oh, excuse me. There's already 1 engineering bay down. And the second one on the way. If we look at the upgrades, 1-0 so far for our Terran player, and 0-0 for our Protoss. Does he have a Forge even? Doesn't look like it unless one of these is a Forge. No. So no Forge right now, and those upgrades are really powerful in this matchup. Whoever's ahead on upgrades will tend to have much stronger army. Upgrades are always important, but for some reason they seem more important in this matchup than others. There's even more barracks, so he's up to 7 barracks now. And the Terran player just starting to spiral a little out of control. Not much harassment from either player. They're both trying to get up to their ideal maxed out army. And then they'll smash them together and we'll see who comes out on top. There are 3 Templar down here. They don't have enough for Storm quite yet, but that'll change relatively shortly. And the Terran player, JustAlex, moving out across the map. If we look at his hotkeys, which is always important to point out to newer players, we see he's got all of his bio with his medevacs on hotkey number 1. Or excuse me, he's got all of his bio on 1. His ghosts are on number 2, and his medevacs are on number 3. Just kind of an interesting hotkey setup to point out. But JustAlex moving across the map. Touche now back down, defended into his choke point. There's so many of them, but they're not fighting. He can segment out portions of the Terran army, and that can be really important, but without the firepower to back it up, he's going to be in a rough spot. There aren't many Zealots. There's 1 Immortal. There's only a handful of Stalkers. There's 3 Templar. So he needs to hit his Storms. If he doesn't, this game is just going to be over. Factory flying in here. This has been coined by Destiny as the retard magnet. If Touche starts to overcommit to killing this factory, JustAlex can sweep in and start killing down with his bio unit, or he can just go into the third and bypass them entirely. The sentry going to go up and check to see where the Terran army is, and now if he sees it, he'll have to pull back. Both players come to get the best position possible for this fight. Templar come in, they do EMP a lot of those sentries. Those are big hits. He doesn't have many Storms left. He needs to hit them, though. Observer going down after that EMP. More EMPs going down that Storm. Oh, 3 Storms going down, and they only hit 1 Ghost. That's not important at all. And now the Terran player has actually split apart the Protoss from his third, and he's starting to take down the third base, starting to take down the army as well. It looks like the concave favors the Protoss, but it doesn't matter. The firepower for the Terran too great, and JustAlex pushing through here, taking down probes in the process. The third base is gone. The army is gone for Touche, and JustAlex has a 120 supply lead, and now pushing up into the main. GG from Touche, and Team Spinal Tap will regain that point, and it'll make it 5-2 will be the final score here. I'll update that just for continuity's sake. There we go, 5-2 will be our final. Well played by JustAlex, and a really scary looking ace for his team, and we'll see if he can carry that momentum and maybe propel his team to victory next week. So thank you, my name is Merstomatic. Let's do a little bit of a week review as we head in. There's a recap of our game. Ragnarol getting off to a good start, taking out Law Gambit in the bronze match on Cloud Kingdom. Followed up, we had a forfeit win, unfortunately, Sleepy Panda taking that over Cello. Again, we don't have any stories behind these forfeit wins, other than they were forfeit wins. Then Isle of Toriamos taking a game off Falcon Punch. That was the first gold game. That was a really that was a pretty fun game on Atlanta Space Bear. Then TWT takes the set off Gloomsy in the first Platinum match. That was probably the game of this match. I recommend going back and watching that. A pretty fun TVT. They just slugged it out. Marine Tank versus Marine Tank. Then Mellow Hype taking that nice silver game off of Loopy. Also with a forfeit win over Jexus. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see that game either. And then in the ace match, JustAlex taking the 2-1 victory over Touche and bringing another point back to Spinal Tap. So Kessel 5, Spinal Tap 2 is your final, and as we look at the standings after week number 1, we see the team to beat right now is Payback, +6 after their game against Benevolent Morons, and they're in a really good spot right now, and they'll look to extend their lead. Other teams starting with win, Team Kessel that we just saw with the +3 score, putting themselves in good position. Team Unrivaled, who we'll see next week, take on the Killer Pikachus. Looks to be a pretty good game. And then Team Evolution and Guns N' Roaches also picking up win. We had Guns N' Roaches on the live stream, and there are VODs at youtube.com/merstomatic.sc. You can also find them through the CTL YouTube channel. Teams that started out with losses, the King's Men, Team Composite, Team Galaxy, Team Anarchy, and the 2 teams with the highest hill to climb are Spinal Tap and Benevolent Morons. So that'll do it for week 1 of the CTL. come back Monday night. It'll be about 10:15 p.m. We'll start week number 2, where we'll have the Killer Pikachus taking on Team Unrivaled. Thank you for watching. My name is Meristematic. Please follow me on Twitch TV. You can also follow me on Twitter at MeristematicSC for updates on when I'm going live. Thank you for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the cast. We'll see you soon. So that'll end our official cast of week number 1. I'll be back in just a couple of minutes with week number 2. We are going to have the Killer Pikachus versus Team Unrivaled. I'm just going to fix some of the art here. You can see the Kessel versus Spinal Tap there, so I just have to go through and clip some of that out. And we'll have that in just a couple of minutes, so please stay tuned. I am going to turn the stream off during that time. If you're looking for VODs of Kessel versus Spinal Tap, they've already been cut on Twitch TV. If you go into my video archives, I'll upload those to YouTube tonight after finishing that week 2 cast. So thank you all. I'll be back in just a couple of minutes, so please stay tuned.